Hello, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena and I'm the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos, and here on the channel we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking and all the things in between. We're right smack probably in the middle of our moving vlogs. I'm going to take a slight detour on that and do some meal prep, and this is why. We have roughly about a week to go until we're done. And I say roughly because the movers are coming in a couple of days, but then, no, actually, I think it's like exactly 1 week to be done. And then we got to turn in keys. So I'm just trying to make it as simple as I can for meals, having the meals prepped out and planned. I thought about doing this before, but I just didn't want to stop packing and things. But now I'm seeing that not having a dinner plan, not having a lunch plan is just, it's adding more stress. So I want to take off that little bit of decision making off my plate, at least for now. So I sat down last night, I put a list together. I just wrote 7 breakfast ideas, 7 lunches ideas, and 7 dinner ideas. And yes, we are repeating. So for breakfast, I put down 2 different kinds of muffins. We call them Grinch muffins, but they're green smoothie muffins. I will try to link as many of the recipes as I have down below for you. And then also maybe some carrot muffins. I also had down pancakes. So those 3 things I will double up on making so that we can have them twice, hopefully. The muffins, sometimes they tend to go super quick, and then sometimes my kids don't want them the second time around. But I have warned the family that we're going on just repeats for probably the next week, and it is what it is right now. We're just trying to get through. So, and then in between, if we either run out, we always have oats on hand to make oatmeal or that kind of thing. For lunch, the ideas that I have are bean and cheese burritos, quesadillas for my youngest because he doesn't do beans, and then peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We are going to make them and then freeze them. So kind of like an Uncrustable, but I'm leaving the crust on. So peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, these are all things that I want to try to prep as much as I can ahead of time and put them in the freezer if need be. It may be able to just stay in the refrigerator, some of these, and last for a week. So bean and cheese burritos, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and then some type of Hot Pocket DIY thing. So like a stuffed either ham and cheese or pepperoni and cheese and some kind of dough or something. We'll see. And then for dinner, the ideas that I had were just some really simple freezer meals. I tried to take a look at what we have in the freezer right now so I wouldn't have to buy more meat, especially the protein. I felt like was going to be the most expensive, and I was really trying not to get back to the grocery store before we moved because, you know, you got to move that, and sometimes that can be tricky. So we're going to try to keep the protein portions minimal when we go shopping. But we're going to do maybe chicken nachos for one night, pulled pork sandwiches for another. This honey soy chicken, that's what I call it. Again, this is a recipe from Six Sisters. I've done it, I've made it on here before. I think it's called honey sesame. And then a really simple Instant Pot pasta, sweet and sour meatballs, chicken fajitas, and then shrimp bowls. So I already have shrimp in the freezer. I already have chicken, and I believe I have a pork shoulder in there as well. I have to double check before we get to the store. And then I think we have meatballs. We might have eaten them all. But I'm gonna check the freezers really quick to see what I have because I've got an appointment to run to, and then we're gonna head off to the store. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to cram into one video of what we're making, but I will try to show you as much as I can. Let's get prepping. Okay, we're back. I didn't film anything in the store because I ended up giving little Matt my phone just to keep him busy. We don't do that often. You don't care. Anyways, before I left, I ended up putting some pinto beans to soak so that I wouldn't have to buy beans for the bean and cheese burritos and to kind of have as a side for some of our dishes. I think what I will do is start with the dinners, prepping the dinners. This may end up being like a 2-day meal prep thing because I'm not sure I can get this many meals done in just one afternoon. It's already gonna be, I think, it's gonna be 1:30. And then that way dinners will be done, and we could always, as long as I know I have the ingredients for lunches and breakfast, that's also a help. So let's try to knock out the dinners first, and then we'll see if we can get to something else, one of the lunches or dinners too. Okay, tied my hair back, and I realized this is the last video we'll be filming in the kitchen here. my very first video on YouTube. No, was it my very first or second? I don't know. My very first freezer meal prep was in this kitchen. And yeah, this will be the last one in here. So a little bittersweet, but let's get to cooking because we got a million other things we got to do. Lord knows we could be packing, right? I'm going to do some sweet and sour meatballs, and I'm going to tweak it just a tiny bit. For my family, the recipe calls for fresh pineapple. I don't have fresh pineapple. I have a can of pineapple chunks. We've used the can before. It'll work. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the whole thing in there with the juice. The last time I didn't put the juice in there, but this time I'm going to go ahead and throw the juice in as well because it also adds for brown sugar. But I don't have any brown sugar on hand. I usually make our own, and I'm just too lazy to make our own. So I'm hoping the extra sweetness from the juice will be enough and we won't need to add brown sugar. And then some bell peppers. We had some mini bell peppers that I chopped up. They were in the fridge. If you watched our football snacks, we used the mini bell peppers for that, and we didn't end up finishing them off. So I'm gonna use, I just went ahead and cut them all up. I'm gonna use like maybe half in here for now. And then this I'll put in a baggie, and we can save this for either one of the other meals I have is chicken fajitas, or we can always use this up for something else, but that way it won't go to waste. So that's what we've got in there. Ketchup, we're just gonna eyeball it. This is what we use instead of soy sauce. It's liquid aminos. I'm not going to give you exact measurements or what I am eyeballing at because out of respect for the recipe, it is one that I purchased. So I will leave the link to the membership below, but I'm sure you could find something similar to this also. And then a splash, we'll just use, I'm going to use the rest of that. Apple cider vinegar. You could use white vinegar if you wanted that instead. And then also cauliflower onions, but I only bought one red onion, so that'll have to do for now. And then the meatballs. I just have a little bit left in this Costco size bag, so I'm going to use the rest. I will probably serve this over white rice. I did contemplate buying like ready-made rice or like boil in a bag rice, but we use a rice cooker and it honestly is just so quick. What I think I'll do is I already have some rice that is cooked, but when we go through that, maybe just make one more big batch of rice and put it in the fridge, and that should last us for the week. I'm not too worried about it going bad because if I notice that it is going bad, I can just pop it into the freezer and then it freezes really well. Okay, the next two meals are really simple. I'm gonna make chicken fajitas, and normally what I would do is go ahead and throw in my chicken. I just have this giant bag from Costco. It's already open because we've been using this, but I throw in chicken, bell peppers, onion, and then a homemade fajita seasoning mix, or you can use a envelope, like pre-made one if you wanted to. I will link the video up in the cards for you where I did like any protein type meals where I just did the seasoning mix basically and the extras that go in the bag, and then that way if you weren't able to find chicken or you wanted to substitute for a different type of protein, you could. So I will link that for you, but this is what this for. I found one in the freezer, it's fallen down, so I was excited to find one more. This is just my onions, peppers, and then the fajita seasoning. I actually think we're gonna make this tonight for dinner, so I'm gonna leave this out to defrost a little bit. I will throw the chicken in the Instant Pot, cook that, and then release the pressure. And then what I do usually is throw in this and set the pressure cooker for like a minute or sometimes even 0, and the vegetables cook enough for us. So, but we like our veggies to still have a little bite to it. So if you want a little bite to it, maybe put it to 0 and it'll just bring it up to pressure, heat it all the way through, and then you can release it and you'll have chicken fajitas. You can serve those in burritos and tacos just like that, but we'll probably do that. And then like I said, I'll make the beans later in the evening, and that's what we'll have for tonight. The other chicken meal that I'm going to make though is this, I call it honey soy, but that is not the right words. It is honey sesame, I think. That one is by Six Sisters, and I will try to link their website at the very least if I can't find their recipes down below. So I'm just going to throw some chicken breasts. These are really big. So I'm going to throw a couple of those in the bag here. What I will do too is add some vegetables to this. So again, tweaking it ever so slightly. Okay, so for this one, I'm also gonna tweak it just so slightly. I'm gonna put in the mix that makes the dressing. So that is garlic. We just buy our minced garlic from Costco, and I have a heavy hand when it comes to garlic. And soy sauce, or in our case, the liquid aminos. And that's probably more than what they called for. I also had in my freezer a bag of open broccoli and cauliflower. I'm gonna put that in too. And I had a tiny bit of this bird's eye stir fry veggies and sauce. This is, it comes with the sauce packets, but we used almost the entire bag the last time we used it, so I don't have any more sauce for it. I'm just gonna dump it in here too and hope that this all works out. I could have put the chicken in last so that when I went to dump it in, the chicken would hit the pan first, but I didn't, and it's okay, we'll survive. So we'll just cook that all either in the Instant Pot, you know, put it in the fridge the night before and cook it in the Instant Pot, which is probably what we're gonna do. We're just gonna leave the Instant Pot out and start packing up the kitchen. Okay, this next one is, I have chicken in here, and then I'm going to add in some fajita seasoning. I don't have any taco seasoning that is done, and I feel like the flavorings are similar enough where it'll be okay. But we're gonna use this for chicken nachos. So I'm gonna just put the chicken, some seasoning in, and actually I'm gonna use, since I found that I had that fajita pack already ready to go, I'm gonna use the last of these bell peppers in here. I'm gonna throw that in, and then I have a can of tomatoes next to me. These are fire roasted tomatoes, but you could use whatever you have on hand. I'm gonna put some of this in, probably like half the can. And then if you had a can of beans, you could throw in your beans in here as well, or if you had some cooked already, you could put that in and just have it all in one bag, but I don't have the beans done yet, so for now, that's gonna do it. And then the day that we go to cook it, I will, like I said, probably throw it in the Instant Pot, cook it all up, and then serve it over with some cheese over some tortilla chips. Okay, at this point in the game plan, you probably could have doubled up those recipes, and you would have easily had 2 sweet and sours, 2 chicken fajitas, what else did we make? 2 chicken nachos, and then 2 of the honey soy. So you would have had 8 meals done if you doubled up the recipe. I didn't double up, as you can see, so, and I'm not counting for leftovers. If we have leftovers, I'm gonna count that as a bonus, and we can put aside a freezer meal for the next week, which I'm sure will come in handy. I'm gonna prep one more freezer meal, and then I'll tell you the other 2 simple meals, how I'm going to make them, but they don't take any freezer. Okay, so in here I have about 3 pounds of pork shoulder roast. It is a little bit more than what we usually use. We usually do about 2 pounds, but like I said, what we're gonna make with this is sandwiches, so that we tend to go through more. Anyways, I'm going to kind of just eyeball and see how this works out for us. In here, like I said, I have a roast. I'm gonna just put in some black pepper, a tiny bit of dill, onion powder, thyme, paprika, and granulated garlic. I'm also gonna put in some, what we have is Kinder's organic barbecue sauce, mild barbecue. We get this from Costco, so it comes in this really big bottle. Even though it says mild, I find that it can be a little much for some of my kids, so I'm also gonna put in some ketchup to kind of cut that flavor just a little bit. Then I'm also gonna put in a little bit of liquid smoke. You're watching TV in the background, in case you can hear that. I'm sure you can. So I'm just gonna let that, mix that in there, and then I will put this probably, I like to do roast in the slow cooker, not the Instant Pot. I know the Instant Pot has a slow cooker feature. I don't know. I feel like the slow cooker does a better job at it. But you do you. You decide how you want to do it. And that's the day that we're going to serve this. I did buy some hamburger buns. We'll just shred it up and then serve it on hamburger buns. The other two meals that we have on the rotation for the next week is shrimp bowls. And that is just going to be rice and beans. And I have some frozen. I have some frozen shrimp in the freezer. And then I also have some sausage that's in the freezer, just some like, not crumble sausage, but the kind you just slice up in case we need a little bit more substance, I guess, to the rice bowls. But that's the main portion of the rice bowls. It's just gonna be, like I said, rice, beans, and shrimp. And then we have some green onions that's growing. We can top it with that. You can put a little tomato, you can put salsa. You do whatever you wanted to with it. That should be a fairly simple throw together type meal. It's just the morning of, or the day of, I have to take out the shrimp from the freezer and thaw that correctly. And then, like I said, I'm making beans for the week now, and then probably rice for the week too. But if I don't have enough rice, the rice cooker is going to come in just fine. The other really simple meal that we're prepping to make, or that I have on the meal plan, is what we just call Instant Pot pasta. I've made it tons of times on here. It's just ground turkey or ground whatever you want to use. You put your saute button on the Instant Pot, ground that up, and then you want to put in, you drain it if you need to drain it, and then you want to put in your pasta and sauce. You can use jarred spaghetti sauce, or you can use homemade sauce, whatever you have on hand. You put that in, and then you also want to put in a cup to a cup and a half of water as well. Bring that to put that to pressure for 5 minutes, and it's done. And that is like super simple. Sometimes what I'll do too is throw in some cottage cheese for added protein and mix it up. And then that's what this hand gesture was, mixing it up. And then that is super simple too. So those are two more meals that I don't really have to prep anything for. I have the ingredients on hand. I have a jar of spaghetti sauce, and I have some ground turkey and a bag of pasta. That's also a really great meal, I feel like, to bring to a new mommy. Or to someone who's in a position like me where they've just moved and it's just chaos. I like to bring meals that are freezable again, or that they can just have on hand for something easy to make if they needed it. So that's it for the dinners. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna get started on lunches or breakfast today, because it's already 2:45, or it's gonna be 3. It wouldn't have taken this long if you don't have to stop and start again, but I have to stop for mom duties. So I'm going to clean up, and then we'll see what else we get in. Okay, I'm actually going to prep, or try to prep, lunch, a couple of lunches. What I did was I bought just the Great Value biscuits in a can here. Are these the best things for you? Absolutely not. Will it do in a pinch? Yes. So our Walmart had these 10 biscuits in a 4-pack. So I'm assuming these are gonna be really small. So I did buy the 4-pack. I only took 2 out. And then I also bought the store brand pie crust as well. So these will probably be a little bit sweeter, but what I'm gonna essentially do is make like stuffed biscuits or Pop-Tart-ish, maybe savory ones. So I also bought some sliced cheese, and I was gonna do some with just ham and cheese. And then in the refrigerator, notice I have a tiny little bit of chicken here, cooked shredded chicken. So I'm gonna do a chicken one too, just so we can use that up. And then I also bought some pepperoni, so we could do a pepperoni and cheese, like a pizza one. I didn't have pizza sauce, but I do have a tiny bit of spaghetti sauce still in the fridge, so this will be a great way to use that up too. So I think what I will do is do the pizza ones in, well, let's see how big these turn out to be. These are pretty tiny, so I am glad that I bought a second thing. I think, whoa, my idea is that I will cook these for the minimum amount of time, and then freeze them, and then pop them back into the air fryer when we want to cook them. Because I don't know if you can freeze the raw dough like this and just make them fresh. Ideally, I would make my own dough because I know that that can be frozen, and then just fold it in. But I just didn't have time right now to make dough and then flatten it out and do the stuffing and all that stuff right now. So we took a little shortcut. I did look for mozzarella cheese at our store, but they were not, either they were out or I just couldn't find them. So we went with provolone. I think it'll be fine. I don't really think the kids will complain. Trying to make it a little bit more of like a rectangle or square, but I don't know that I did anything at all. So it's cool, it's cool, it's fine, it'll work. My first thought was to just do one layer and then do the other pie crust on top and then cut it. But because I still have plenty of chicken, I think what I'll do is do this one half and then fold it over and then do the other pie crust with ham and cheese. My oven is at 400 degrees. I'm gonna put this and the biscuits in and check them after 10 minutes. Okay, I was gonna start cleaning up, but I think I'm gonna do at least one loaf here of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So I'm gonna make the entire loaf of bread, except maybe the end pieces, into peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, yes, they are easy enough to make on your own. You could just make them the day of, but having them done as well is helpful. So that's what we're gonna do. The trick to doing these is to put peanut butter lightly on both sides. You're welcome. To put peanut butter lightly on both sides and then the jelly in the middle. And then what you could do is after you make them, you could cut the crust off and then seal them again like we did with the dough. Just press it down and then you would have your own DIY Uncrustables. But we're not gonna go that far. We're just gonna make them with the crust on, and then the day of, if the kids don't want the crust, we'll cut them off. Okay, peanut butter is done. Now I'm gonna put in the jelly on every other slice. Okay, so now I have 8.5 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches done. That is enough for my kiddos to either have 2 sandwiches each and to have two more sandwiches left over, or if they just do 1 sandwich, that would be like 2 lunches. So time well spent. And then here is what the Hot Pockets-ish, I don't know what we want to call these. So these were they were both in 400 for 14 minutes. You can see this one just has some softer spots, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave it as it cools because we're gonna throw it back in the air fryer anyways. These are browned up nicely, and you can see some of the sauce still ended up leaking out of some of them, but that's okay. I still have 2 more cans of the biscuit dough also in the fridge. So I think we'll be good to go as far as lunches are concerned. Plus I have these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that are done. I went ahead and just put them back into the bag. I put them back into the sandwich bag here because I'm gonna put them in the fridge for right now because these are only lunches for a week. They don't need to last us months or longer than that really. So I'm pretty sure we'll go through those quickly enough. If we don't get to it in the next like 2 or 3 days, I'll go ahead and toss them in the freezer. But like I said, I think we're gonna go through them sooner rather than later, because this is why I'm prepping it, to make it as easy as possible for me. I'm gonna stop here. It's about 4 o'clock now. I'm gonna clean up my kitchen and then get the chicken for chicken fajitas tonight into the Instant Pot. And then maybe tomorrow I will make some muffins or something like that to have for breakfast. But for now, that's where I'm gonna stop. I think that's a good prep for the next week, getting us going.